For the second part of this lecture, we're going to continue to learn about business continuity management. Business readiness refers to the capability of an organization and its assets to respond to disruptive events, as well as to manage and recover from such an event. An awareness program ensures an organization's personnel are aware of the importance of business continuity and understand their roles in maintaining business continuity. Therefore, an organization should ensure that all staff learn about awareness as part of the induction program for new hires and then on an ongoing basis. The following list here on this slide shows the objectives of an awareness program as well as the awareness sessions that should be discussed. Training provides skills and familiarizes leadership and staff with the procedures and tasks to perform in executing continuity plans. Federal Emergency Management Agency's continuity guidance for non-federal entities recommends to include the following components into a training program, and they're listed here on the slide. In terms of the specific content of training, the National Emergency Crisis and Disaster Management Authority recommends the following two topics, and they're listed here on this slide as well. Information system resilience is about the resistance of infrastructure, assets, and procedures of an organization that improves the organization's ability to withstand and recover from disruptive events. The IBM white paper Resilient Infrastructure, Improving Your Business Resilience defines the elements of business resilience. 3 of the 6 elements are primarily defensive in nature, but are the common strategies used by organizations and a necessary part of business continuity management. The first measure is recovery. It refers to the provision for a safe, rapid, off-site data recovery in the event of a disaster. Hardening is the second measure. It indicates the fortification of all or part of an infrastructure to make it less susceptible to natural disasters, malicious actions, or employee errors. And the third measure is redundancy. It specifies the duplication of all or part of the infrastructure to supply hot active backup service in the event of an unanticipated event. There are also 3 offensive measures that go beyond traditional approaches to resilience. Accessibility is one of these offensive measures. If the primary work site is inaccessible, accessibility measure enables enterprise personnel, partners, and customers to access infrastructure from other locations. These measures include the deployment of diverse communication technologies, for example, wireless, fax, email, and instant messaging. And the second offensive measure is diversification. It involves the physical disruption of resources and the implementation of diverse communication pathways in order to decrease the probability that a single disaster degrades business operations significantly. Automation is the last offensive measure. It refers to the inclusion of self-managed hardware and software components in the infrastructure. These products make decisions without human intervention or, at a minimum, bypass problems and alert human attendants to initiate appropriate action. As technology progresses, resilient infrastructures will contain more automatic components with self-configuring, self-healing, self-protecting, and self-optimizing capabilities. Control selection is the selection of specific measures related to assets and operations that meet the security objective. The European Union Agency for Network and Information Security, IT business continuity management, and approach for small and medium-sized organizations provides a comprehensive set of controls in 2 categories the organization can use: organizational continuity controls and asset-based continuity controls. There are 5 sets of organizational continuity controls, each containing a number of specific controls for a total of 39 controls. The categories include business continuity management, business continuity policies, plans, procedures, test business continuity plan, sustain business continuity management, and service providers or third-party business continuity management. The asset-based continuity controls are more extensive and comprise 92 controls in 5 sets. The 5 sets of controls is hardware and network, which covers resilience, backup, redundancy, and recovery actions. And second one is application, which covers resilience, backup, and recovery actions. And the third one is data, fourth set is people, and the final set is facilities. Furthermore, an organization should use the business impact analysis and risk assessments as inputs to the selection process for determining the cost and benefit of each control in order to make an optimal selection. So we've talked about how a business continuity strategy provides an overall view of an enterprise approach to business continuity management. A business continuity plan establishes the documented procedures and resources for preparing for and responding to disruptive incidents. The ISO requires that an organization produces a business continuity plan or an interrelated set of business continuity plans. The organization should establish documented procedures for responding to a disruptive incident. The organization should also identify how it will continue or recover its activities within a predetermined time frame. The continuity plan should address the requirements of the plan's users. The Western Australia government's business continuity management guidelines provides a useful guidance on the content of a set of plans that covers all phases of business continuity operations. A business continuity management plan overview is a description of the framework, policies, procedures, and overall strategies for providing for business continuity readiness and performing business continuity operations. An emergency response plan recovers the actions that should take place immediately following a critical incident for the protection of people and assets. A crisis management plan provides guidance on dealing with disruptive incidents after the initial emergency response. A crisis management plan provides guidance on dealing with disruptive incidents after the initial emergency response. Such a plan should provide guidance on quickly developing an organized systematic response that seeks to maintain some level of continuity. Last, recovery and restoration plans are targeted at individual teams that are responsible for responding to certain types of disruption or supporting certain aspects of recovery and restoration. The objective is to define the procedures and needed resources for maintaining critical business activities and for recovery as quickly as possible in order to resume normal operations. Exercising and testing are essential for an organization to validate its ability to effectively respond to and recover from disruptive incidents in the time frame established by the management. Further, exercising and testing must be ongoing to accommodate staff turnover as well as changes to the facilities, equipment, and the threat environment. According to the ISO, exercise refers to the process to train members of the organization as well as to assess, practice, and improve performance in the organization. Exercise focuses on the business continuity plan. It tries to determine if personnel, procedures, and equipment are all in place and in a state of readiness to respond to an incident. Especially exercises are needed for an organization to ensure that its business continuity procedures are reliable. The following list here on this slide shows the types of exercises in the increasing order of complexity. There are seminar exercise or plan walkthrough, tabletop exercise, simple exercise, drill, simulation, and role play. Depending on the size and needs of an organization, management may choose to use one or more types of these exercises. The ISO defines testing as procedures for evaluation, in other words, a means of determining the presence, quality, or veracity of the continuity plan. Testing focuses more on individual aspects of business continuity and ensures that equipment and procedures are maintained in a constant state of readiness to support continuity activation and operations. The objective of testing is to identify and address business continuity plan deficiencies by validating one or more system components and the operability of the plan. Exercise and test planning is dictated by the objectives for testing defined in the business continuity plan. Further, each individual exercise or test plan should identify quantifiable measurements of exercise or test objective. A plan for an exercise or test should include goal, objectives, scope, artificial aspects and assumptions, participant instructions, exercise and test narrative, and evaluation. Performance evaluation assesses the alignment of business continuity management system to the management requirements and requirements in standards. ISO provides the following 3 key performance evaluation requirements. First, an organization should establish, monitor, analyze, evaluate, and update metrics to assess the performance of the business continuity management system at the regular intervals. Second, an organization should also establish, maintain an internal audit process to ensure that the business continuity management system aligns with the management expectations and ISO standards. Finally, the organization should communicate the performance of the business continuity management system and its solutions to program sponsors and other top management representatives through the management review process, with the objective of prioritizing continual improvement opportunities. Feedback derived from performance metrics guides management to prioritize ongoing improvement and adjustment to business continuity procedures. The Federal Emergency Management Agency provides a list of metrics that an organization can use to measure its ability to meet its continuity requirements. An organization should implement an internal audit process to evaluate the performance of the business continuity management systems. The scope of audit activities and deliverables may vary across organizations. However, in all cases, internal audit must involve an independent and objective evaluation of the business continuity management system in terms of its effectiveness. And the following list here on this slide shows key tasks for internal auditing. Management review is an essential aspect of business continuity management. Such a review needs to evaluate readiness and conformance to requirements and standards. Business continuity operations constitutes the foundation layer for business continuity management. In response to a disruptive event, the business continuity process proceeds in 3 overlapping phases, as discussed in previous slide. The first phase is emergency response. It focuses on arresting or stabilizing an event. The second phase is a crisis management, which focuses on the safeguarding of an organization. And the last phase is business recovery and restoration. It focuses on the fast restoration and recovery of critical business processes. This figure here on this slide shows a rough indication of a typical level of effort and timescale for each phase. The relative values of each phase depend on the nature and severity of the incident, the complexity of the organization, and the organization's state of readiness. An emergency response is an urgent response to a fire, flood, natural disaster, bomb threat, or other serious situations, with the intent of protecting lives, limiting damage to properties, and minimizing the disruption of system operations. Generally, an emergency response has a limited duration, usually minutes to hours. Designated emergency response personnel perform several key tasks, including account for staff and visitors, deal with casualties, contain and limit damage, assess damage, and invoke the business continuity plan by contacting the crisis management team point of contact. It is important to notice that the nature of a security incident indicates which personnel are involved in the emergency response. Crisis management involves ensuring that the processes, controls, and resources are available immediately following a disruption to ensure that the enterprise continues to deliver its critical business services. Typically, critical management occurs over a time frame of a few hours to several days. Tasks performed by the crisis management team include contacting staff, customers, suppliers as needed, performing the initial recovery of critical business processes to the extent possible, and rebuilding the lost work in progress. A crisis management team needs to react quickly. Thus, the management should be a small group of a dozen or a few individuals who can easily coordinate among themselves. Business recovery or restoration is aimed at getting the enterprise back to normal operations as soon as practical. Typically, business recovery operation occurs over a time frame of a few days to a few weeks or possibly even months. Tasks performed by the business recovery restoration team include damage repair and replacement, relocation to a permanent place of work, restoration of normal IT operations, and recovery of costs from insurers. Business recovery or restoration may involve a number of teams, depending on the size and complexity of the organization. Furthermore, the team may be organized on a functional line or departmental lines.